I almost went out of order. And when I started recording, I noticed something was missing because I was having to redo some clips and videos because things were just missing. So anyway, we're going to go into this instead. So I'm glad I noticed it. It's the Wheel of the Year and Seasonal Festivals. This is kind of long, so I'll go ahead and forewarn you. I will kind of pause between them, so you want to fast forward and see that. I'll try to get the timestamps out as quickly as possible. But anyway, these are important to know as a witch. So let me go ahead and get this started, okay? Saman, I'm not very good at pronouncing certain things. It's been like a recent thing. So the Gaelic or Halloween, it's Gaelic. I'll go ahead and tell you that before I say it because I'll have to say it several times, okay? It's the Southern Hemisphere is April 30th. The Northern Hemisphere is October 31st. And if you are wondering, Eastern Standard Time is Northern Hemisphere, okay? Celebration of death as a continuation of life. Last of 4 Gaelic seasonal festivals. Borders between the dead and living are not fixed and impassable. The veil between the worlds are at their thinnest, so one can ask the ancestors and spirits for guidance and communication on the future. Celebrating where you came from. Traditional time for scrying. Like Beltane, it is a fire festival, which is New Year. To honor ancestors, we create an altar and their photographs and personal effects and attempt to contact them using divination. I'm seeing a lot of errors because I was very ill when I was doing this, but I still tried to get things done while I was ill. I just didn't record. Often referred to as Cabbage Night or Mischief Night in the American Northeast and in Northern England. I don't know where Ireland was coming from. Symbols include pumpkins, gourds, cauldrons, besoms, and apples. So yes, this is Halloween for us. Okay, Yule. Ancient Germanic, Christian, and this is the winter solstice. Southern Hemisphere, June 21st to the 23rd, and the Northern Hemisphere is December 21st to the 23rd. The longest night of the year, often marked by grand feasts, tree decorating, and gift giving. This is Christmas, obviously. Bustling or caroling. I'm not familiar with what that first word was, the W word. I'm guessing it's similar. Evergreen boughs, mistletoe, mulled wine, spiced cider, bonfires, pomander balls, and Yule log. Traditionally, the Yule tree was decorated with fruit and lights to represent all that the ancient pagans hoped would return with the arrival of the solstice. That was something new that I learned. A Yule log is a long-held tradition for pagans and Christians alike and symbolizes the re-emergence of light. It brings good tidings, prevents misfortune, and calls festival goers to circle around to tell ghost stories and play games. I have the word kit there. I'm not sure why it's there. Midwinter festival linked to the Christmas. Archetypally, linked with the birth of a child of promise and light. These are the names used for, the baby in the manger. Dionysus, Arthur, Jesus or Jesus, and Baldur. Celebrates the return of the sun and thus hope. Abundant spells and charms. Giving thanks and gifts of goodwill. Yes, I should try to look up the pronunciation of these before I do it. And I have been, but this was like, oh crap, I forgot to do this in order, so I apologize. Embolic. I think that's how you pronounce it. A lot of things in witchcraft, if you're not around a lot of witches, and it's not like we have, how-to TV shows, so we have to learn how to pronounce things ourselves, and many times we pronounce things incorrectly because they're not English terms. So, Southern Hemisphere is August 1st. Oh, it's Gaelic, and then Candlemas. I don't know. Looks like candle and then Christmas put together. Candlemas. Southern Hemisphere is August 1st. The Northern Hemisphere is February 1st. Originally a pagan festival honoring the Celtic goddess of the hearth, Brigid, the patron of fire, smithcraft, poetry, healing, and childbirth. We recently talked about her. Imbolc celebrates the quickening of the earth. Celebration of light returning. Goddess as Brigid, or Saint Brigid. Excuse me. The Celts welcomed the return of spring with Brigid's crosses made from wheat stalks and straw corn dollies called Brideogos, Brideo, and then like a comma, GAS, which were given as gifts or exchanged to encourage a prosperous growing season. I'm already getting tired. Homes are cleansed and blessed with a ritual besom, and hearth fires are lit or candles placed in all the windows to welcome the return of light. Fire festival. Clarity and healing. Light to shine. Self-knowledge. Creation. Astara. Celtic, Anglo-Saxon, Germanic, Christian, and it's the spring equinox. Southern Hemisphere is September 21st to the 23rd, and Northern Hemisphere is March 21st to the 23rd. It seems like I have the exact chart somewhere. I'll have to look for that. Okay, so, because it does change, I think, like, each year a little bit. So, night and day are equal, but moving towards summer. Balance and growth. Leave what you don't want and create the new. Fertility and love. New projects. In some theistic religions, the equinox honors the Anglo-Saxon goddess Eostre. I think that's how you pronounce it. Eostre, the goddess of spring. Everything that was planned and blessed during the embolic is now put to use. Of particular importance to the vernal equinox, nocturnal hare, who is thought to die each morning when it retreats to its burrow after a night of activity, represents mortality. Some things I think I'm speaking too slow, some things I think I'm speaking too fast, especially when I can't breathe. Okay, eggs, flowers, and seeds all symbolize the burgeoning of new life across the lands. I'm not sure what I was planning. I guess that's what it was. It's not what it says. Popular recipe is hot cross buns. These are spice buns decorated with crosses for the goddess Eostre. Beltane, it's Gaelic and Mayday. Sorry, not or. I probably shouldn't have put it where I put it, so I'll probably correct that. I have it in parentheses, like with a comma between them. Anyway, Southern Hemisphere is October 31st, which is our Halloween, and Northern Hemisphere is April 30th or May 1st. Marriage of the goddess and the god. Fire festival that marks the beginning of summer and honors the abundance that fills the earth. Excuse me. Flowers are bursting, new life is rampant, and growth and renewal abounds. I'm not making much eye contact, apologize. Traditional balefire rites include jumping over the fire for purifying the body and aura and pledging eternal love. I thought that was interesting. As well as dancing and using the wafting smoke to protect the crops from pests. Okay, so red, orange, and yellow flowers, fairy magic, the maypole, and knot or cord magic are common symbols of Beltane. One of the two liminal lines, the other being Saman, during which the veil between the world and the next is at its thinnest. Maypoles, phallic and yonic symbolism. That's penis and vagina. Okay, so love magic, weddings, and hand fastings. Animus and anime masculine and feminine balances. Hand fasting, I put hand fasting is used to bind two people together, a pagan ceremony with ancient Celtic origins. Letha, Anglo-Saxon, the summer solstice. Southern Hemisphere is December 21st, 23rd. The Northern Hemisphere is June 21st to the 23rd. The longest day and shortest night. Celebrations include dancing around a bellfire at the top of a hill until sunrise on Midsummer's Eve, where it is possible to catch a glimpse of the fairy realm. Using the midsummer ashes as an amulet or sowing him into the fields is thought to offer protection and bounty. Oak tree. The traditional tree of Letha represents the doorway through which we enter the darker half of the year, and it is decorated with yellow cloth and sunflowers. Sun is at its fullest power, yet the year begins to wane from here. What brings light and joy into your life and develops this? Self-development. Celebration of the masculine divine. Midsummer Fade Garden Party. It's a fun midsummer ritual. Construct a tiny fairy house of small twigs and bark and adorn it with heather, jasmine, roses, and thyme. Play music, make fairy cakes, tea cakes, or other sweets. Leave out nectar or juice near the fairy house for them to enjoy, and dance to coax the fairies out from the realm. Carry rue on you in case the fairies become troublesome. And that is something I do have in my apothecary, but that is not something that, I think rue, I'm pretty sure rue is the one that can cause you to bleed. I know that Dittany of Creek can too, and people use it as a natural abortion, or if they're having a miscarriage, you need to just let it, take its course a little quicker because it's affecting you mentally. or physically as well, then Dittany of Crete is something you can take in large quantities. I haven't heard anything bad about it. I actually know that it's one of the greatest herbs in the world. We're actually going to have a video on it one day, so I won't continue on that, okay? Alright, it's going to be in my store. I'm not sure if, I can't remember, is this pronounced Lammas or Yamas? It's Lammas, or Almas. It's Gaelic, Anglo-Saxon, and Lugnasadda. You know I can't pronounce that, right? Southern Hemisphere, February 1st. Northern Hemisphere, August 1st. First harvest, first loaf baked. Celebrate heat of summer, the Celtic Sun King Law, and the reaping of wheat. In Celtic tradition, Lanasada, I said it better earlier, was a wake held for death of La's foster mother, Teltua, who cleared the Irish land for farming. In natural witchcraft, we use this festival to hold a wake for the sun as the autumnal equinox looms. In Old English, that word, lammas or whatever, translates to loaf mass, like a lot of bread loaves, you know. God begins his journey into the underworld. Sorrow and celebration. Fruition, taking stock and harvesting what you have achieved. Okay, so the Lammas harvest ritual. Spend the day outside harvesting the fruits, fields and orchards. Be sure to drop seeds into the earth to see if they sprout the next year. For this festival is all about the cyclical death of rebirth of nature. Say a little blessing over each seed, such as, into the earth to be reborn. Okay, I want you to know that as I'm going, I apologize that I'm not saying things correctly because I feel like it is disrespectful to those that I am referring to. But I will say that we are going to, and I will learn how to say everything beforehand because that will be totally embarrassing, saying like 700 words incorrectly. But we're going to do the history on witchcraft one day. Many of you may think it's boring, but I actually took a course on this, and I found it to be very interesting, okay? So it was not exactly what I expected at all. Like, I'm not sure what I was expecting, but it was very interesting. And if you would rather take the course, you can email me at twitchcraftandtarot. It should be in the description area. Or just look at my name, twitchcraftandtarot. Just put it all together lowercase at gmail.com. Anyway, if you would rather see it here, cool. If not, cool. Okay? It's actually prolonged if you see it on there, though. Okay, Mabon. Neo-Pagan Autumn Equinox. Southern Hemisphere is March 21st to the 23rd. Northern Hemisphere is 21st to 22nd. I notice it's like where they're going into the new signs. Did you notice that? Some of them, not all. Okay, named after the Welsh god Mabon, who was the son of the Earth Mother goddess Madron, which is basically the same name, but instead of the B, it's got a D and an R, okay? Symbols are cornucopia, apples, pomegranates, wine, nature spirits, and berries. Okay, harvesting the main crop. Take stock of what has or has not served you well. What needs repairing before the dark comes? Excuse me, preparation for harder times. Well, there's not a comma, there's just extra space. Harvest that will not be consumed at the feet. Okay, canning and pickling. Welcoming change energy. The veil between this... Jeez. I did notice I was getting my words backwards when I did fill up. And I thought I corrected all, but the veil between this world and the next is thin, so our ancestors are close by. And that is the end of that, thankfully. So we're under 15 minutes, and now we're going to go into the next video, which I had just lost. I apologize. What is it we're doing next? I'm sorry. The moon's transits within astrological signs.